Alright, hello, this is my FYP project. This is a narrative AI system that works with a storytelling generative model based off of narrative scaffolding. This is very similar to other games such as RimWorld or Dwarf Fortress, where you have a bunch of different characters and they will interact with each other, different personality traits, which will then create an emergent sort of system. So this narrative scaffolding system can be seen in this event system here, where this is attached to the character with ID 0, so that's this one here, where it will generate a cast, which will be a event 1, so that would be like a murder event if you look in the code, and it will be caused by character 1 and will affect character 2. So if I press this button, it will simply start that murder event, although it can start naturally. I'm just going to do this just for testing purposes. So when I click on this, it will kill character 2, and it will generate a memory in character 1, which just got triggered, where the character will just simply be horrified at the murder event. So if we reactivate character 2, we can then do this event again, but this time we can change this first character to a vengeful trait, which will be here. Now this will then elicit a very different reaction from the character. Also, as can be, this will then, where the memory was triggered, they're normally thrown in there, and it would then cause this event where one player will try and kill the other. Although I think that's glitched out, but normally that would just simply kill the player like that. And that would then just cause the event to start pretty much and give it a resolution where one character kills another and another character will then go in for revenge on that plot. So it builds up a story based on the narrative scaffolding system. So let's just reload this project. So we also have used this system for generating a history sort of system. So as you can see with this character here, Dave Johnson, there is an entire history with this character which is generated from a series of events. These events can then carry on throughout their future and give resolution to other events. So for example, we have a instance where, or maybe not that character, so I can click on it to change it. Hold on, I've got to make sure I actually get the right one with the event, but ideally we want one where they get an event where they get attacked by dogs when they're young, which will then cause them to be very hate-filled with dogs. But then eventually they are saved by dogs from almost drowning, and that would then remove that from their dislikes, causing them to like dogs. So that's the sort of narrative scaffolding system that we have, where one event builds onto the next, then builds onto the next. So the next system I want to show off is the personality system, where these traits are also fed in by the history system. We also have an emotional AI system, which is rather basic. It will just take on a happiness and anger, and it will influence the actions of these characters. So, for example, angry, if they are not happy at all and angry, they'll go into a mental break, which then cause them to go into a number of activities, such as they could try to murder someone from a mental break, or they could go on an insulting spree, just insulting a random person a bunch and making them just despise them. So ultimately, this is a system that can also help generate these certain events that will pop up. So if we go to the dialog system, this is influenced by both the personality trait system and the emotional AI system. What we have is a very basic natural language processing system that has a very basic sense of the word, where words are broken down and just sort of refitted together based on who's talking to who and what they're talking about. So, for example, we got John White here who's calling Greg Rose a moron. They can also talk about their likes and dislikes. So, somewhere around here, you may see them say, "Oh, I like dogs." What you also have is the dialogue, which is the reaction to that dialogue. So, via the emotional system. So the emotional system could change how they are likely to talk and react to dialogue. So in the emotional system, angrier people who had the trait like aggressive are more likely to be more argumentative, and when reacting to dialogue, if they're being argued with, they're more likely to get angrier and maybe lose more relation with each other character. So ultimately, what we have is a very reactive AI system that is able to react with their emotional systems as well as their personality and general demeanor. So what else do I have to talk about? So what we also have is a very simple state machine, which will just do all the stuff together, which is just idly walking around, which is just moving them around to different places, as well as states for talking to each other, attacking each other, that kind of deal. So what that would do is it would just simply move them around through that system. Anyway, that's my entire project, and thank you for listening.